Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into some fascinating sources you send over. We're looking at community governance, local power structures, and, well, how one person can make a huge difference. Our mission, as always, is to dig into these sources, pull out the key insights, the surprising stuff, and just give you what you need to be really informed fast. So, okay, imagine this. Picture yourself in your grandfather's cabin, right? By the lake. Cold beer, maybe? And you're having this quiet chat with the state attorney general. Pretty important guy. Everything's calm, peaceful. Then, bam, the front door just explodes in a word. Wood splintering, glass flying, and storming in. The HOA president, the self-proclaimed queen of the neighborhood association. You could almost see her, right? Designer heels crunching on glass, expensive blazer, perfume so strong it kind of makes your eyes water. And she's screaming about violations like she owns the place. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. She just committed like 6 felonies. And she did it right in front of the one person in the whole state who could sign her arrest warrant on the spot. And the kicker, she was live streaming it. The whole meltdown. To thousands of people.
Yeah, it's an incredible scene. But what Marcus Henley's story really shows us, I think, isn't just that explosive ending. It's the whole web underneath, the deception, the fraud. It was all carefully built up. And this deep dive, we're going to unpack how one regular guy, just by being persistent, accidentally burned down this whole multi-million-dollar operation. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How often do we just dismiss someone as a bossy neighbor? Like an HOA busybody? Well, Maybe they're actually a professional criminal.
That's a chilling thought. So yeah, what would you do? HOA psycho kicks in your door during the most important meeting of your life. We're going deep into this incredible true story, Marcus Henley versus the HOA Queen. And let's be honest, probably half of you listening have dealt with some kind of neighborhood tyrant before, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not this extreme, but still. This one's for you. Okay, let's rewind. Let's set the stage first. Our main guy here is Marcus Henley. He's 52, retired, spent 30 years as an electrician. Hard work. Wiring power grids, dealing with mud, storms, you name it. His escape, his sanctuary. This 2-acre cabin on a Clearwater lake. His grandfather built it by hand back in the 60s. Log cabin, stone fireplace, creaky porch, the whole deal. Even got solar panels humming away. No Wi-Fi, no bills, just peace. Sounds pretty perfect, honestly.
It really does. It's that ideal retreat, isn't it? And his grandfather, Marcus's grandfather, left him with these 2 sayings, almost like wisdom for what was coming. The first was, the land picks you, not the other way around. And the second, maybe even more crucial, when someone wants your land real bad, find out why. These aren't just, quaint sayings. They speak to that deep connection people have with their property, their home, and also that gut feeling, that intuition when something's off. When someone wants what you have a little too badly.
Yeah, that intuition. Marcus didn't quite get how right his pop was, though, not until she showed up. Her name was Karen Cromwell, although Marcus first knew her as Delilah Cromwell, but pretty soon everyone just called her that HOA psycho.
Oh, well.
And she made an entrance all right. Pearl white Escalade, vanity plates. RULE1, get that, RUE1, had an HOA badge pinned to her blazer like she was the sheriff, and her big announcement. Transforming their quiet, rustic lake into an upscale resort community. Pitched it like it was progress, shiny and new. But the reality...
And what's fascinating, or maybe disturbing, is how fast that vision started to look. Well, shady. Just 2 months after she arrives, 3 elderly couples suddenly sell their cabins. Cash buyers. Poof, they're gone. Vanished. It really raises that question, doesn't it? How often do we miss those early signs, those little red flags, people leaving suddenly, weird transactions?
Yeah.
We swear them off, but maybe they're the first dominoes falling.
Exactly. And then it hit Marcus directly, the first violation.
Yeah.
A notice taped to his door, $500 fine for his unsightly dock. Now, this wasn't just some random dock. He and his grandfather rebuilt it together when he was 12. It was part of the place, part of his history. So Marcus tries to explain calmly, look, my property was here 40 years before the HOA even existed. These rules don't apply. Her reaction, a smirk. And she says, everyone on this lake answers to me, sweetie. Ask the Hendersons how fighting me worked out for them. Chilling.
Oof. Yeah, that right there, that was the moment. The turning point for Marcus. He realized, okay, this isn't just a neighbor who likes rules a bit too much. This is a professional bully. Someone using threats, implied power. Intimidation, that's her toolkit. And stepping back, you see how that happens, right? How these little pockets of authority, like an HOA board, meant for good, they get twisted, become oppressive, sometimes right under everyone's noses, until someone like Marcus gets that direct threat.
Okay, so let's get into the next part, because this is where it all unravels. This is the aha moment. Marcus is back at the cabin. He's got files spread out, getting ready for this meeting with the Attorney General. He still thinks he's just dealing with harassment, basically. An overzealous HOA president. And then he spots it. Something tiny, buried in the paperwork. Something anyone else would just glance over. A single line of fine print, almost invisible. But it proved Karen Cromwell wasn't just a bully. Nope. She was running a criminal empire, full stop.
And that tiny detail, that crucial piece, was in the footer of one of those violation notices he'd saved. It's fines, payable to Lakeside Estates Community Improvement Fund, account number 847291. Sounds official, right?
Totally. Standard stuff.
Exactly. But Marcus, remember, he spent decades as an electrician, working with complex plans, spotting tiny details, inconsistencies. That was his job. So that little line, that account number, just pinged something for him, didn't feel right. So he decided to pull the county records. It's a great example of how, your day job, your specific skills, they can give you this unexpected edge in totally different situations. What do you think was the biggest hurdle for him there, just knowing where to look?
That's a really good point. I think, probably just sifting through everything. It must have looked like mountains of legit paperwork. He wasn't an accountant, right? He was an electrician. But his gut, that attention to detail, it paid off big time. Because pulling those records, that's when Karen Cromwell's whole world started to collapse. The records showed, get this, $280,000 collected for dock repairs around the lake. Repairs that never happened. Not one. Then $150,000 paid out to a landscaping company. Guess who owned it?
Let me guess. Someone close to her.
Her brother-in-law. Bingo.
Oh, classic.
And maybe the craziest part. Insurance claims, big payouts for storm damage, filed on days when the weather reports showed blue skies. Perfectly clear. No storms anywhere near there.
Wow. Yeah, see, this isn't just like sloppy bookkeeping. This is fraud. Plain and simple. Organized. Deliberate. And Marcus kept digging. Found these regular monthly payments, $5,000 a month, going to this company called Clearwater Property Solutions.
Sounds legit enough.
Except it wasn't a real company. It was just a P.O. box in Karen's own neighborhood.
No.
Yes. It's a textbook move, right? Using shell companies, fake services.
Yeah.
It's how you launder money, how you embezzle funds, make it look like legitimate expenses. She was playing a shell game with the community's money.
And suddenly, it all just clicked into place for Marcus. All the harassment, the threats. It wasn't just about power. Karen Cromwell was systematically driving down property values, scaring people off, forcing families, the Hendersons, Mrs. Patterson, the Thompsons, forcing them to sell cheap, sell her associates their lakefront property for pennies on the dollar. Well, she was also pocketing all this community money through the fake companies. They hadn't just been bullied out. Like Marcus said, they'd been robbed twice. Just devastating.
Absolutely devastating.
And then the meeting with the Attorney General happens. This is the moment it shifts from Marcus versus Karen to the state versus Karen. The AG looks him right in the eye, confirms everything Marcus suspected. He says, Marcus, what you found here, this isn't just HOA stuff anymore. This is a criminal enterprise. The whole game changed right then.
Right. And from that point on, it becomes this multi-agency investigation. The FBI gets involved, state police working with Marcus. They set up what one agent called a controlled confrontation. This wasn't just, showing up with handcuffs. It was strategic. Hidden cameras planted in Marcus's cabin, undercover officers positioned in the woods nearby, backup plans for the backup plans. What's really fascinating is the level of detail, the planning, making sure every single thing she did next was recorded, documented, legally airtight for prosecution. They were building an iron cage, basically.
And Karen, predictably, maybe, she doubles down. As the net is closing in, she gets more aggressive, not less. She starts escalating, cutting boat chains, trying to poison septic systems, can you imagine? Tampering with people's solar panels, real sabotage. But here's the beautiful, or maybe karmic part. Every single act recorded. Every piece of vandalism, every threat, it's all caught on camera or audio. She was literally documenting her own crimes, handing them the evidence on a silver platter. She had no idea.
And then comes the grand finale, the piece de resistance of self-destruction. The live stream, her hubris just takes over completely. She decides she's going to broadcast her righteous anger, expose this government corruption, interfering with her HOA business. So she storms into Marcus's cabin during his meeting with the Attorney General, screaming accusations. And she's broadcasting it all, live, to thousands of followers, committing breaking and entering harassment, probably more, all on camera. her own camera. It just begs the question, how does that happen? How does chasing that online image, that validation, lead someone to incriminate themselves so spectacularly? What could she possibly have been thinking?
I think she genuinely believed she was untouchable, that she'd gotten away with it for so long. Maybe she thought the rules just didn't apply to her anymore, that her followers would be her defense. But that fantasy evaporated. Instantly, the look on her face, you can just picture it, when the Attorney General stands up calmly, looks her dead in the eye, and says, "Mrs. Cromwell, you are under arrest." That live stream, her intended weapon, it became Exhibit A, the prosecution's dream evidence, captured everything. Illegal entry, the threats, the whole meltdown. Perfect clarity.
Poetic justice, almost.
Almost. So fast forward 3 months, justice comes down, Karen Cromwell gets 3 years, federal prison, ordered to pay back $340,000 in restitution, and, maybe crucially for the community, banned for life from ever being involved in an HOA again. Her husband didn't walk away clean either. He got 18 months for conspiracy. So yeah, real consequences.
And beyond the sentences, think about the community level. The HOA she corrupted, it was completely dissolved, gone. And in its place, the neighbors themselves formed a volunteer community association, like Marcus put it. No bullies, no bogus fines, just neighbors working together, which is really the ideal, isn't it? It shows that power of a community taking back control, rebuilding trust, focusing on actual cooperation after something like this. It's quite restorative.
It really is. And Marcus, our quiet, retired electrician turned accidental investigator. He gets a whistleblower reward, which he deserved. They even named a state law after him to prevent this kind of HOA fraud. And most importantly, he got his peace back. His cabin, his sanctuary. It was safe again. And he became a local hero, really.
What really stands out from this whole saga, I think, is the sheer impact one person can have. Just one individual. Through careful observation, persistence, just not letting it go when something felt wrong. He stood up against this whole corrupt system.
It's such a powerful reminder for all of us, right? That critical thinking, that willingness to question things that sound legit or look official, it's vital for any community, big or small.
Absolutely. From just wanting a quiet retirement to taking down a multi-million-dollar criminal operation, Marcus Henley's story, his deep dive, it really shows the power of paying attention to the details, and having the courage to stand up for what's right, even when it seems impossible. Sometimes the biggest fights really are right in your own backyard. And it leaves us with this thought, doesn't it? What little detail, what piece of fine print in your community, or maybe your job, or even just daily life, what might be hiding a bigger story? How do we strike that balance? Trusting the systems we have, but also maintaining that critical vigilance to make sure they're actually working fairly for everyone. And what happens when people in power exploit that trust is something worth pondering.
Definitely something to think about. Keep your eyes open out there. Keep asking questions. Keep digging. We really hope this deep dive gave you something valuable today and maybe inspired you to look a little closer at your own world. Until next time, stay curious.